guys, welcome back for the bug bounty journeys, and in this video I'll be showing you about a bit about GraphQL and SQL injection. And the labs we'll be doing is Pentest labs, and I'll be showing you step by step on how to exploit GraphQL with SQL injection coming right up. Okay, so let's get started straight away. First thing I'm going to do is go to Pentester Lab. Pentester Lab have a great GraphQL injection, SQL injection lab. Now, I'm gonna have this in the Patreon page, but basically the differences between GraphQL and SQL. SQL is select query language, GraphQL is graph query language. The difference between them is that GraphQL is node-based and the edge-based, and SQL is more direct to the database. You can also just type in the differences between those two and you should be right. But first of all, we're going to go to the challenge, and we're going to go to this challenge here, and then we're going to open up burp. We're going to open up burp because that's what we're going to use for all the interception and all the capturing and stuff. Capture the requests and stuff like that to hack. So we've opened up Pentester Lab. We're going to go to run in our burp, and we should really burp. And we want to put that in Firefox like so. Start up burp, and then I'll put it over here. Now we also want to use Altar, which is our GraphQL client. So this will help us with all our ways to like interpret the data and to query the database, etc. So load Altar. This is Altar here, and this is really good for GraphQL injection. So first thing we want to do is open up burp over here. We want to turn on our interception proxy, and we want to intercept the project's request. And as you can see here, it's got GraphQL. We can also install the GraphQL module, which will help us detect and deceive it as GraphQL. I'll put that in the description there. So we want to send that to the repeater, and we just want to go. We're going to click go. And it returns this JSON, or this GraphQL data back from the database. Now, what we're going to be doing is copying the URL and going to our client. So we paste the URL here, and we go send request. And then we have this doc. So this is what we want to do, is I want to find an entry point where we're going to inject our quote to cause an error. The project seems right because it's an ID. So let's go query. Let's go project, and then we want to do an argument. So we want to go ID, and then we'll just choose the first one, and then we'll print out the value, or the name, actually, the name. Run that, and we get hacked the planet. But what happens when we insert the quote in here? We should find that we get an error. There's an SQLite error, meaning that this is vulnerable to SQL injection, or could be vulnerable to SQL injection. So let's change this to a get request method, and let's put in query, and then put our GraphQL query here. So we're going to query the database with our quote, and we should find that we get an error still. Should get an error back, like so. Should say, oh, actually, I need to put a space there because we don't need a space because we can't afford to have spaces. Doesn't work. So SQLite error. So we want to put an asterisk, because with the asterisk, this will be our entry point for SQL map. So we copy the request, and we go to SQL map. Obviously, I've done this before. This is the key here. But we want to get SQL map. We want to basically open up the request and paste it in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run, what you'd first start off with is the SQLmap.py -r to input our request, and then the table name. But we're going to just flush the session, and we're not going to use the table name. We're just going to find a way to discover the table names. So we just want to, first of all, I can use Tempest to bypass the WAF, web application problem. We just want to use the request and see what happens. And we're going to flush the session too. So we actually start fresh. Okay, so, and we want to do batch too, so it just automatically selects the best options for us. And we'll find that when that goes after a while, it will say it's vulnerable to SQL injection. Saying there's injectable parameter, it's found one that could be injectable. It's found an ordered by technique that is automatically extending. So this seems, and it's found 3 columns, which is really good. Okay, let's just wait a little bit longer. It's very simple to do this. All it requires is a bit of GraphQL like knowledge and then SQL map. That's it. And what we're doing is we're basically finding an entry point. We know that the ID caused the crash. So we're running a query against project ID. So I've done this before, but I played around with projects and nothing in projects, and I found project ID is a common parameter to have SQL injection. So I thought, let's try and insert a quote into that. So the ID is the variable, and we want to put in argument 1, which returns hack the planet, and we'll put a quote, and it causes the message to cause a SQL error. Then we go here and we just put our asterisk, find an entry point, and we copy this whole request and feed into SQL map. As you can see, it's found SQL injection. So then we just want to run this command here, and it should give us back or it should dump everything, dump all the tables and everything. This is not nearly necessary. This we don't really need that, but I just put in there for just simplicity. But we don't really need the -t ptlab ii key and c value. That doesn't need to be in there because dump all will do it all for us. So we'll let that go and we'll come back to it. If you follow this example from my previous video, the introspection, it tells you down the bottom on what to do. So it tells you the discovery of GraphQL endpoints and also introspection and also ways to cause a database to crash. So he inserts a quote, it gets an error, parse error. So it means it's got a SQL syntax error, meaning they injected a quote into the query and it caused the database to fail the program to fail. The query failed, and then it can bring back an error. This is generally error-based SQL injection. And then he talks about automating the process of SQL map. So mouse is way different than this, but we end up doing it in N, which is good. So it uses SQL map to automate the process to finding SQL injection and giving us back the database entries and database information. We can get a SQL shell as well, which is really cool. It also does WAF bypassing. It's a pretty complex program. It's got a lot involved. It's such a great tool. I would highly recommend it. But it always revolves around the same steps, really. I want to also go over some of the payloads we can use. So a good website is Payloads of All Things. Payloads of All Things contains a list of payloads we can use for bug bounties or pen testing. It's made by Swisky. So in the README, it's got these this identity, so you can identify an injection point by using schema, types, name. And if another thing is you want to do is you want to check the errors to see if it actually is SQL is my GraphQL that we're after. So we just go error. We'll find that it should bring back an error back to our response, and that means that we're dealing with SQL. Sorry, GraphQL. Another thing is that we can do that, and we can check to see if errors are visible, like these ones. Another thing is we want to use this introspection. So this will make sure that we can enumerate through every single part of the database. And this is basically similar than information schema in MySQL. So information schema contains all information in the database. This is sort of the same thing. It even says it in my pen tester example. Pen tester lab, sorry. It says right down here, it will go, where is it? It's in actually introspection example. You have to go to my Patreon page and check that out or watch the video. It talks about how introspection is so similar than information schema. So payloads, there's lots of them. There's the introspection payload. There's also, SQL injection, like right there, that's what we're doing in this example, and also ways to get it through curl, and so on and so on. Also, discovering GraphQL endpoints, I would recommend check out my previous video, which is about introspection. This will help you a lot. I go over all that. And then there's time-based SQL injection. This is when we do things like or sleep 20. So if the web application halts or sleeps for 20 seconds, it's vulnerable to blind-based SQL injection. Okay, so I've been waiting a bit of time and SQL Map finished its process and I retrieved this value here. So this value was in the PT Lab II key table, and this is the key for that we need to submit to Pentest Labs. Think of it as like the flag. So as you can see, we've got all these tables that are enumerated, and what I figured, I had to actually use this repair command. So repair was when I did it before, I had all these question marks. I'm like, what do I do here? So repair, what it does is it just I'll just show what it does. So repair will redump entries have an unknown characters markers, or unknown character marker. So we put that repair in and it actually works successfully. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you learned something from this. And yeah, just keep on hacking, keep on doing bug bounties, keep on trying out all these vulnerabilities. Focus on one vuln, and once you then try and find it everywhere, and just try and become an expert or pro at that one vulnerability. Try and find it absolutely everywhere on different bug bounty programs, and that's how you find a bug. Also, if you really want, you can check out my Patreon page. There are different tiers. You can pay $2, which is the official Patreon. You unlock medium posts. And the $5 for the premium Patreon, you unlock my private posts and my private tools. And the VIP Patreon, which is the most popular, you get access to all my private mentoring videos and all below, the tools and private posts, etc. There is even GraphQL injections on there. Also, if you really want, you can try it out for just the $10 or whatever you want. And if you don't like it, just shoot me an email or message through Patreon, and I'll give you a refund. So yeah, all the best, and yeah, click that subscribe button. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you need any help or you got anything you want help with, just comment below. And yeah, all the best with your bug bounty journeys, and I love you guys so much. Cheers, have a good day.